One of the most common patterns that I see during infertility is women reaching this point where they feel like they have to try everything, meaning more supplements or more drug therapies or more interventions, more diet changes, different kinds of tracking tools, more protocols in general. And honestly, it's understandable why this happens. Because when something matters as deeply as having a baby, everything becomes important, nothing wants to be missed, and there's also this sense of wanting to regain some semblance of control. But sometimes this feeling of needing to be in control becomes counterproductive, and it slowly evolves into something that keeps women sort of mentally trapped in that hamster wheel, kind of keep going, keep looking for the next thing, the thing that I'm missing. So it's about a need to regain control. Now, infertility is a very particular kind of problem, because unlike most other problems in your life, if you try harder or if you get more help or you do more research or you just push your way through it, you can find a way. But with infertility, that often becomes counterproductive. In other words, more effort does not automatically lead to more predictable results. And that's one of the conundrums with this. Women are often used to solving problems with more persistence or more optimizing or pushing harder or more discipline or even research. And yeah, you do need some of that. But for a lot of women, that in itself becomes too much. It starts to add to that feeling of overwhelm that I've talked about before. It becomes too much because inside in the nervous system, there's this idea that you don't really know what's going to make the thing work out in the end. So there's this uncertainty, which I talked about before. And that uncertainty can become corrosive if it consumes you. It can become emotionally destabilizing, is what I mean. Once a deep level of uncertainty takes hold in a person's mind or in their nervous system, as I think about it, there's this tendency to start looking for the missing piece. And that comes from talking to people and reading stuff and researching. And the missing piece could mean a different drug, or maybe you have to go off dairy, or could it be gluten, or maybe it's this supplement, or maybe I need to combine these two supplements, or maybe that's my problem, it's my liver, or it's my HPA access, or it's my brain not regulating my hormones. Now, all of those things are possible, but the point I'm making is you're chasing one after the other, not really sure what it is, but there's this alluring sense of, oh, what if I just try, get that other thing and try that other thing? And of course, it's easy to do that because there's so much information online. But there comes a point where you just stop feeling guided in the right direction and you become lost or just not sure what the next step is. And that's mentally fatiguing and consuming. There is a fine line here, and I understand it. There's a fine line between needing to research, because you do need to research, but then researching compulsively, reading every new article, reading every comment that you find, listening to everyone that talks to you about it, looking for a second and third opinion from your doctor. It's a kind of a compulsive need to, man, it's just a missing thing. What's the missing piece here? It causes this sort of constant change of direction. Maybe not fundamentally, but internally it does. And that, of course, interferes with your ability to settle in to a clear plan. And of course, that all comes from this fear of overlooking something important. You kind of get stuck in this state of, I need to search for the next thing in case it's important, in case it's the thing, the missing piece. And of course, when you do that, at least when you get stuck in that mode, the brain feels like it just doesn't have permission to switch off. After a while, it's no longer really about fertility itself. It's really about control. If you're honest about it, if you look into the depths of the motivation, it's really about trying to regain control. Now that's understandable, but that's what's happening. It feels safer to do that, but of course you're disturbing the silt of your soul, as I call it. The problem is, disturbing this silt, you lose clarity, you kind of even lose a bit of belief in yourself, maybe lose hope. It's a sort of a losing game. And I'm not talking about looking for stuff and looking up stuff. I'm talking about when it crosses a threshold of, and it becomes sort of compulsive. And that's why I believe that the intention shouldn't be try everything. The intention should be understand what deserves your attention the most, or understand what deserves your attention now for this period. Maybe it changes for the next period. Because when you think about it, not all fertility advice deserves the same weight. And I mentioned this before, but the advice could be good or it could be bad. But even the good advice could be at the wrong time for you or at the wrong sequence of events for you. What I find is women often start to feel calmer when they stick to a clear direction, when they get a clear path and they stick to it and they stop chasing all these other things. And of course, it's not that they care less so that they're just doing less work. It's not about that. It's the cliche, it's working smart, not hard, so to speak. Or doing both, in fact. You kind of have to work hard. There is a sense of hard work about this. It's application, it's some discipline, and it's sticking with the plan. But once you refocus on whatever the plan is, it kind of settles the heart. And there's a huge amount of fertility that's connected to the heart, the nervous system, the immune system. It's not just about the fertility system. In fact, if you read my book, you'd see I defined it in terms of this kind of hierarchy of priorities. And the bottom hierarchy, of course, is the energy production system of the body. I know that's a bit technical for some people. It's got to do with your mitochondria and ATP and the energy you produce from the food you eat. Very complicated idea. But that's the thing that gives the baseline signal to everything else. And as you move up the hierarchy or move up the pyramid, as I described it in the book, up there somewhere near the top is the fertility system, the ovaries, the uterus, and even the brain's hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal, gonadal, or ovarian axis. In other words, the brain's control system that regulates your hormones. All that stuff is fundamentally important. But what I'm saying is there's a sort of a hierarchy of importance. What I find in my practice is that when women stop chasing this feeling of needing certainty, they stop chasing certainty and they settle into their plan once they're confident with whatever the plan is, it's like their heart settles. And that actually promotes fertility, believe it or not. The fertility system doesn't just work on its own. It's connected to how you feel and how you think. And if you read my book, you'd see the different connections that I make in it. It's connected to the stability of your relationship. It's connected to other elements of your life. Anything that kind of puts you on alert sort of bumps the fertility system down the priority chain, and you've got to tackle these things in order to bump the fertility system back up the chain. But the main point I'm making is when women stop chasing this need for certainty and let go a little bit, things settle, there's less panic, and that whole system is allowed to reorganize itself in a calmer, better way. And honestly, that shift, it's internal, but that shift matters more than people realize. It's hugely important. It's up there with the right nutrition. It's up there with the right medication that you might get from your doctor. It's up there. So look, if this resonates with you, great. Below the video, there's a link to my website. You can go on there and have a look. I've got a fertility quiz. I've got a link where you can check out more of how I work. There is a link to a book there if you are looking for more information or you're looking to understand the sort of bigger picture that I've been alluding to here. And I'll leave those links below the video. Please check them out. Okay, this is Brendan. I'm signing off. I'll talk to you in the next one.